Hey guys, Evil Ernie here from Obsidian Vapor Company. Today, coming to you, we're going to give you a quick basic lesson. This is basically Vapors 101. We're going to be using an Ego today, but you can pretty much use any vaporizer you want to use, everything from 510s to 808s. It's pretty much all the same, it's just batteries and fittings are a little bit different. But we're going to go with the Ego today because it is one of the most popular styles today. With me I have a standard Ego kit. In it comes 2 batteries, a cone, atomizers, 1 atomizer in this particular kit. Also comes with a USB charger and a wall charger and an assortment of pre-filled cartridges. This is a high strength, which I think is about a 16-18 milligram tobacco flavor. We're going to start off real basic here. We're going to go with just basic cartridge vaping to start you out with. This is pretty much how everybody starts out. You take your battery, make sure it's fully charged. We'll get into that in a little bit. But you take your fully charged battery, grab your atomizer. This is your atomizer. Pretty standard atomizer. Screws onto the battery. Alright. Get your cartridge. Open your cartridge up. On your cartridges, you may notice sometimes it may be a little bit wet. Sometimes they leak a little bit. They are pre-filled. So it may be a little bit wet. Just take a paper towel, wipe it off. Don't rinse it off. You don't want water getting in this thing. On these particular models, it has a rubber cap. Just pop that cap right off. You can save this cap if you want to refill your cartridges at a later date. You just recap it, or if you're not completely done with it, just recap it, put it wherever you store your cartridges. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our cartridge and our atomizer and just stick them together like that. And that's all there is to it. You can take your cone, put your cone on there. So now it looks just like that, and you've seen pictures of this. To vape, just easy as pie. The button on the battery, when you're taking your hit, I'll try and show you at the same time here. You just press the battery while you're taking your hit. And that's it as far as cartridge vaping. Cartridges are probably one of the least reliable methods of vaping. They take sometimes a little bit of tweaking. Sometimes they don't work real well, but it's quick, it's simple, it's what everybody pretty much starts out with. One quick tip about cartridges. Sometimes the liquid will get backed up inside the cartridge. When that happens, you may notice a decrease in vapor or flavor. What you want to do is what's called a thermometer flick. That's when you take the e-cig with the cartridge on it and hold it like that with the battery pointing down and just give it a couple flicks like that. What that will do is that will force the juice back down to the atomizer bridge. Long, slow pull. Best way to vape. A little different from cigarettes where you just take a big whack on it and you were good to go. This is a little bit of a learning curve to it. You got to get used to it. It's a long, slow pull. Let that atomizer work, atomize that liquid, vaporize it, and you should get a nice mouthful of vapor. Our next is dripping. Dripping is great when you're sitting in front of the computer or watching TV, just kind of hanging out, you know, whatever. Do not drip and drive, and you'll see why here. So what we're going to do, we took our cone off, we're going to take our cartridge off, put the cap back on it, save that for later. We still have our atomizer on, and we take our drip tip. This is a black Delrin drip tip. These are relatively cheap. You've noticed it has an O-ring on it, and it's hollow the whole way through, kind of like my head. What this allows you to just pop it on your atomizer, and now you have that hollow space. You can take your bottle of juice and drip directly into the atomizer. When you have a new atomizer, usually you will prime it with about 7 drops of juice. 5 to 7. Start with 5, see how it does. Try 7. When you've got it all primed and everything, you vape and you start to get a metallic burnt taste. That means the atomizer is dry. It's time to hit it with the juice again. So you put 3 drops in there. Right down the hole, and you're good to go. Now I'm vaping without a cone. Doesn't matter. Put the cone on it. Cones, some people love them, some people hate them. I like them. What the cone does is it tightens up the hit a little bit. It gives you a little warmer of a vapor and a little tighter of a draw. That's all there is to that. Now you'll vape that when you're dripping. You'll vape it until you start to get that metallic burnt taste. Don't let it go too far. You don't want to burn out an atomizer by drying, getting it too dry. When you start to get that nasty taste, it doesn't taste like the juice you're vaping. Add 3 more drops. Keep right on trucking. Our next style of vaping is going to be the cartomizer. I happen to have a cartomizer right here. It doesn't look that much different than an atomizer. It's a little taller. You see the little difference in height there. The thing about a cartomizer, it's a cartridge and an atomizer combined into one unit. It is reusable. These are a Bose type cartomizer. They usually come with 2 rubber end caps and a white cap in the top. This one I've already removed. I don't know if you can see it with this lighting. There's a white fluff down inside of it, and that's what you're going to fill with juice. So we take our cartomizer. Now this one here has probably been filled up a little bit, but we'll try and get a couple drops in here just to show you. When we fill a cartomizer, we're going to angle the cartomizer like this and drip into it. You do not, there's a tube in the middle that runs the whole way through. In fact, you can actually see through it. Do not drip down that tube. It'll end up coming right out the bottom or into your battery. You don't want that. It makes a mess. So you angle it so when you drip into it, it runs down the side and into the fluff. These hold about 1 full milliliter of juice, which is about 20 drops. So when you get a brand new atomizer, you can usually cram 20 to 25 drops in here. It gets everything, nice and wet and ready to go. So I like to look at it when it's dripping. There's about 8 drops. It's pretty wet. I had some in there from last time. I'm using my Mountain Dew. This whole thing, you just screw onto the battery. You can add your cone. Now the white cap that's on here that you've pulled out, that is technically a mouthpiece, and you can vape it that way. I don't recommend that. It kind of sucks. Use your drip tip. The drip tip will go right on the end of your cartomizer, and that gives you a nice tapered. Hit. Cools the vapor off a little bit. You still get that nice tight hit from the cone. This is probably one of the best ways to go. A cartomizer will usually last you, depending on how much you vape, it lasts me about 2 to 4 hours. Usually I get about 3 hours out of it, out of a full 20 drops. And 3 hours into it, I'll start to, the vapor will start to drop off. I won't get nearly as much vapor, and I'll get that little burnt taste. It's like, okay, time to fill it back up, and I'm good again for another 3 hours. Good stuff. Alright, so there you go. There's cartridge dripping when you're using a cartridge and the atomizer that comes in the kit. Dripping, which uses the atomizer and a drip tip, or using a cartomizer. Now, one quick thing about cleaning. What happens is sometimes the fittings, these little fittings inside, they will get maybe a little bit of corrosion, or they'll get some juice down inside or some condensation, and that'll cause just some nasty gunk to build up in there. Or maybe if you've dripped too much into an atomizer, it will leak down into the battery, or if you get too much juice in your cartomizer, it will leak. The best way to clean these things out, pardon my face, is a Q-tip. Take a Q-tip and gently, lightly run the Q-tip around the threads, dig the other end, and just any juice that may have leaked onto the battery surface, just mop it up with your Q-tip. And you can see there's a little bit of buildup in my threads. I usually do this once or twice a day. It only takes a couple seconds. I'm done with it now. The threads of your atomizer or your cartomizer, you'll get the same kind of gunk on there too. You can use a paper towel, all right, and just wipe it off, and you may see a little bit of dark colored crud, and it's, you know, you're getting it off of there. What happens is that crud will build up, and it will cause a loss of power to your atomizer or your cartomizer. Alright, so there we go. Charging. Battery chargers for this particular model, pretty much basically the same. It's just a USB, and that's your charger port. So you just plug this into your USB of your computer or your powered USB hub, and you'll see a green light come on, or yeah, green light will come on when there's nothing screwed in. Just take your battery and you screw it in. Make sure you don't cross thread it. Alright, and when you screw it in, what will happen is your button on your battery will flash 5 times blue, or whatever color your battery happens to be. Usually you get 5 flashes. This will turn from green to red. When it's red, that means it's charging. You don't want to tighten it down. You just got to get in there so that flashes and that turns red, and then you're good. Usually for these batteries, these larger batteries, usually 3 to 4, sometimes 5 hours to charge it, which is okay. These big batteries last 8 to 10 hours sometimes. And when it's done charging, this will turn green. Just unscrew your battery, put it in whatever storage you use, or charge up your other battery, and you're good to go. Most of these kits also come with a wall plug. Typical United States standard wall set. This just plugs into the wall socket. You can take your USB, it's got a USB port on it, plug it in there, put on a surge protector or power strip or your wall socket in your kitchen or whatever you want to do. And that's really about it. There's not much to it. Vaping is real easy. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but other than that, it's not a big deal. Anybody can do this. It does not take a rocket scientist. Alright, if you've got decent equipment, good batteries, you can do it. It's a great way to, well, I guess I'm not allowed to say quit smoking, but it's a nice alternative to tobacco. Let's put it that way. I've made it such an alternative personally. I have not touched an analog tobacco cigarette in over a year now. I am strictly vaping now. So, there we go. So, once again, I'm Evil Ernie. Welcome to Obsidian Vapor Company, one of the newest companies out there providing custom e-liquid and kits and accessories. Check us out, www.obsidianvapor.com. Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and keep vaping.